as to the 2 days that we've been spending here. Mike and I didn't even know each other until we bounced into each other.
Oh.
I said there must be a Mike in the lobby.
Didn't know him until I saw him in the lobby.
Oh, interesting. That's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Just less than 48 hours ago, we had to find out where the place was, and have felt very welcomed being here, and feel like we really are a part right now of SBCA. So
Great.
thank you for that feeling. So, I sure am glad we got a tech person here, because if anything goes wrong, I'm handing this to you. AdvancEd is the global leader in providing continuous improvement and accreditation services to over 32,000 institutions, serving 20 million students worldwide. AdvancEd is a combination of the old North Central Accrediting Association, the Southern Schools Accrediting Association, the Northwest Schools Accrediting Association, and the three combined. There's a couple, I think WASC is left, maybe there's a couple others that haven't joined in yet. And again, as it says, it's a global, they do internationally. The thing is just exploding, I would probably say in about 10 years. But again, pretty much just a combining of all the institutions together. Accreditation is an international protocol for institutions committed to systematic, and sustainable improvement. It builds capacity of the system and its schools to increase and sustain student learning, stimulates and improves effectiveness and efficiency throughout the system. Student learning. No matter else what we say today, it's about student learning. And anything that we are trying to do to help you is because of student learning. Many of you heard Mike say it, I said it too, there's only one reason school exists. It's not for parents and it's not for teachers. It's for kids. The external review is a diagnostic process to stimulate and guide continuous improvement with a focus on impact of teaching and learning, capacity of leadership, and use of resources. Mike and I come in as an external team. As we jokingly said, we knew nothing about this place. Up until 30 days ago, when Devereaux submitted the report to me, I couldn't guess what this place was like. And again, you could do your own review, and you did, but again, you need somebody from the outside to tell you, what are you doing? If you worked at all with the accreditation process, there are 5 standards, and they kind of group them. Impact of teaching and learning was standard 3 and 5. The teaching and the continuous process is number 5. Capacity of leadership was number 1, which had to do with the purpose and goals of the place, and standard 2, which had to deal with governance. And standard 4 dealt with resources, so they kind of combined them to say, we can look at those 3 large groups. The external review was a professional judgment by the external review team, and we broke it down to 3 categories: powerful practices, opportunities for improvement, improvement priority, and then we'll talk about the IEQ, and then finally our accreditation recommendation. Powerful practices, and let me give you my sermon right now. I am convinced in institutions grow by emphasizing what they're doing good. Okay? There's a person, John Maxwell, and John Maxwell's a real leadership guru. And John Maxwell says, I know my weaknesses, what I'm not good at as a leader, and I can raise those a little bit. But I'm never going to make my weaknesses a strength, no matter how hard I try. But it's my positive things that I have to know what I'm good at, and I work on that. Let me give you my analogy. If I would determine someday, I'm going to get my body in shape, lose 20 pounds, 2% fat, blood pressure, cholesterol, the whole 9 yards, and I get there. I said, okay, I'm done. I'm done, I don't have to do anymore, because I reached it. Turns to fat real quickly. I also believe that analogy holds to organizations. You've got to stick with what you do good. So when you see the powerful practices, realize that it's just not a nice stroke and pat on the back for you. It's what got your school where it's at. And you better do something about it so it's here tomorrow. Opportunities for improvement, that's Mike and I's judgment as to some things we are suggesting that you do. Improvement priorities, you absolutely positively have to do. and they have to be addressed within 2 years. And AdvancEd will be communicating with you to follow up to see what are you doing on these kind of things. While we were here, we talked to 34 people. Now, some of you obviously we talked to more than once. Sorry, we only put your name up here once. When we say we interviewed somebody, you're going to say, well, who said that? And we say, well, one of those 34 people told us that. The teaching and learning impact, we examined the student performance results, instructional quality, family engagement, support services, curriculum quality, and college and career readiness status. So those are some of the larger issues that went into this right here. One of the improvement priorities that we found was to provide and document training for all staff in the identification and analysis of data, particularly as it relates to student assessments. Incorporate student performance into the school's continuous improvement plan. If you don't have data, you don't know what you're doing. You got to have data. So again, we had talked with a number of groups about assessments. You need to continue to do those assessments. You need to look at that data. You need to disaggregate the data. You need to follow the data. It's the only thing that's going to help you move into a positive performance for kids. So, well, first of all, this is a cheap little sentence, okay? We're going to put some meat on that bone. In our report that you get, you're going to get a paragraph or so as to what we're talking about. Also, another disclaimer, some of the words may change. I'm going to work on this tomorrow or the next day. Man, why, Gary, you didn't say that clearly at all. I mean, come on, Gary, clear that up. So again, if it doesn't look exactly like that, a powerful practice. There is a quality communication practice in place with the information portal I learned today. It was called a parent portal. Keeping the parents of students in grades 4 to 12 informed of their child's academic progress. You can't believe how positively the parents talked about that. That they just value that so much. As an educator, I love it because it's a shared responsibility between teachers and parents. No parent can say, well, I never knew about that. I was never told. Oh yeah, you were. Another powerful practice, obviously, is the technology that's part of SBCA's instructional efforts. Students work at their own pace, utilize technology to explore and review learning objectives. Not a lot of schools are doing what you're doing. There's a lot of schools that would like to. So again, it's something you got that's positive. Work on it. Keep it going. Effective learning environment, observational tool. I got it. For the teachers, that's what Mike and I had when we were in the classroom and checking things off and circling things. That's what we were doing. And again, there are 7 domains. Was there an equitable learning environment, high expectations, supportive, active, a monitoring and feedback environment, a well-managed learning environment, digital learning environment. External review is what your school came in at. AEN is AdvancEd Network. AdvancEd Network is the average of all the schools that took AdvancEd accreditation last school year. So I mean, that could be everything from preschools to grade schools to high schools to you name it. Your school came right in where it should. 4 is the highest, 1 is the lowest. So if we saw something in the classroom that was very evident, we gave it a 4. If we saw something that was evident, we gave it a 3. If we saw something that was seldom evident, we gave it a 2, and if we didn't see it, we gave it a 1. Okay? So this is pretty much how it occurs. You may ask, why is that number so low? Because remember, we were in all 3 classrooms. Mm-hmm. So we were upstairs and we gave 4s. Okay? Nothing wrong with it. Just explain how the numbers roll out. Second category was leadership capacity, and we looked at the institutional purpose, governance, stakeholder engagement, improvement capacity, and the results. Powerful practice, school leadership and staff clearly demonstrate a culture of Christian values and beliefs. To a person on this campus, we would ask, what are the strengths of here? Why do you send your kids here? To a person. Christian values and beliefs.
That was universal.
Universal.
And clear.
I mean, they talked about a lot of other good things that's happening in the school, but every person.
Yeah, I was very impressed.
Yeah.
Because you talk about the culture of the school.
Powerful practice. It's a powerful practice. An opportunity for improvement is to implement a program of staff evaluations and continual professional development of all instructional staff. What AdvancEd did for your school, this will do for every teacher on the staff. I heard that there are some knees knocking, anticipating what's AdvancEd, what's accreditation, that there's some,
We're super scared.
yeah, I think that's a polite way to put it. Well, I've heard other words, but some people look at staff evaluations the same way, don't. They're for your growth. They are for your growth.
And then the opportunity too, you couple that with data analysis. Think about how powerful that is in terms of enhancing student learning. Because that's really what this is what can we do to enhance student learning, and then all good things come from that. The reputation of the organization and institution increases within the community. The phone starts to ring. Wow, I heard bop, 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 bop. And pretty soon you have more enrollment than you know what to do with. But it all starts with what we provide to the children.
Okay, in the next section dealt with resource utilization. We looked at your allocation, use of resources, the equity of distribution of resources, your level and sustainability of resources, and long-range capital and resource planning effectiveness. An improvement priority is to implement a process to monitor all financial transactions using a recognized, regularly audited accounting system. There are, I think, 5 things called assurances that every institution has to do, and this is one of them, and you had responded no to that. I checked with AdvancEd and said that will not immediately disqualify a school, but it's got to be brought in as an improvement priority. Now, for the financial people in the room here, when I use the word audit, I don't mean that many $1,000 audit. I simply mean there is some kind of checks and balances on your book. So the people who work here every day and are handling that money in and out, somebody has to be looking at that and checks and balances, okay? So don't look at that word audit, all you CPAs out there. An opportunity for improvement is to incorporate your fiscal resources into the improvement and upgrade of the school facilities. You have done a lot. There's still more that can be done. Okay? So again, take a look at your fiscal resources, what can be done to bring everything up, and the point being, it's going to sell your school. Okay? All of you people are here every day and you're going to walk past this stuff and you don't see it. Every time I was a new principal into a school, I said to somebody, look at that. Oh, yeah, I guess. They walk by it every day, they never saw it. So what you can do to do something like this is bring an educator in that doesn't know this school at all and have them walk through. And have them just kind of give you a checklist. I was fortunate to have a man who was a husband of one of my school board members whose job had to deal with OSHA. So I swallowed hard and gave him a pad of paper and had him walk through our building. I'm glad I only gave him one pad. I saw it every day and I thought it was okay. Another opportunity is to evaluate and analyze differentiated learning opportunities in the grades 4 to 12 program, emphasizing language arts, math, and incorporating STEM-based curriculum. Again, we'll flesh that out more for you. And I know when we're talking to teachers this morning, maybe we're talking about some direct instruction in that upper classroom upstairs. Still keeping the online program, but maybe some direct instruction has to occur in some kind of small groups. And again, to evaluate what STEM's all about and how can you incorporate that into what you're currently doing. It's happening, folks.
P21.org. We're going to be the first preschool in California to be STEM accredited.
Wow.
It is the magic. So
Okay, another opportunity for improvement, document a formal technology plan with an emphasis on differentiated learning in all grades. You know that technology is changing faster than we breathe. Okay. What's technology going to be on this campus in 1 year? In 5 years? Okay. To put a shot out there, to say what's it going to be like, and obviously all kind of plans change, they keep changing. You've got a fantastic base. Now just, don't let that set. Conclusions. IEQ, Index of Educational Quality, is where we looked at the impact of teaching and learning. We looked at the strategic direction of the institution, the utilization of resources. It's a tool for formative analysis and continuous improvement, and it's a connection for the conditions, processes, and practices to evidence, including student performance. I saw somebody trying to copy things up here. Don't worry. Before I leave, I'm going to email this presentation to Devereaux, so don't worry about any of those kind of numbers. He'll have a copy of this. IEQ, individual, oh man, Gary, you're getting old. Index of Educational Quality. Wait till you get this old. AEN, again, is the AdvancEd Network average of all the schools last year that went through accreditation. The external review IEQ score is yours. For those of you who worked on the document, you know you gave yourselves a 4-3-2-1. Okay. We looked at that. Mike sat down and went through every standard and gave a 4-3-2-1. I sat down and gave a 4-3-2-1. He and I arm wrestled a little last night, and we kind of said, okay, you gave this, I gave this, why did I give this, why did you give that? And because I'm the leader, I got my way. No.
I'm in a weakened state.
So these are the numbers that we came up with. Again, you couldn't be any closer. This is number 4, and again, if you looked at the report, you knew that your resource utilization was one of the lower ones that you had scored yourself also. The IEQ results indicate that the school system is performing within acceptable ranges as compared to expected criteria, as well as other institutions in the AdvancEd network. So you're in that system. The external review team recommends to the AdvancEd Accreditation Commission that the South Bay Christian Academy earns the distinction of accreditation by AdvancEd. Woo!
Praise God.
Awesome.
Just one caution with one word. We recommend. Okay? So what happens from this?
How can they bribe you in any way, shape, or form? Bribe them?
We don't want that in.
There's checks and balances.
Yeah.
There's about a 40-page report that I have to write within 10 days.
Wow.
That gets sent to a reader reviewer. That gets sent to, I don't know, somebody else. This thing goes around for 30 days, and then it'll get sent to you. So they don't like the way I say something, they don't like the way I spell or whatever, they're going to get back with me. I think in June is when the National Commission meets. So you'll know officially then. I'd be very surprised if it wouldn't occur, As I said before, improvement priorities must be addressed within 2 years. And as I showed, I think I've met with enough of you to talk about this is just a journey you're on. As I said to one group, excellence is a path, it's not a destination. It's a path that one gets on. Deliberate and strategic actions to ensure that every child, every day, is being prepared and achieving success for their future.
Very good.
It has been a pleasure to be here. I was sharing with some, I think it was Brother Lloyd. I met with Brother Lloyd earlier this afternoon and shared this. I have done this with some principals who sat down and argued with me for an hour.
Oh.
you know, they look at something, well, how could you do that? How could you say that? How did that number come out? It hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. The professionalism here, the hospitality, Amber. So much appreciated. The support. I mean, I asked for something and I got it. Greatly appreciated. We also respect and acknowledge your efforts to improve the quality of your institution. There are lots of schools who are saying, nobody's going to come in and tell us how we're doing. There's a lot of schools out there, a whole lot. So again, I respect you so much for saying, we'll take the risk of having some outsiders come in. I was saying to Mike, one principal really took a gamble. At the exit review like this, he had a school assembly and had all the students and the parents there.
Wow.
I would not have been one to be the lead evaluator saying you don't get accredited. I would have made sure there was a back door in that stage. Again, I congratulate you for completing the requirements for AdvancEd school accreditation. It's a world of opportunities for every learner.
Awesome.
I typically don't have Q&A at this time. As I said, I met with Brother Lloyd this afternoon, and he and I and Mike, we shared back and forth. So at this point, I just again want to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both.
You guys have a very strong foundation. I get excited for you because what you have and you build on, you know, the service you're going to provide to the community is fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we're here. Yeah.
I know you're gonna bring grass for us, so I know that.
Your mouth.
That was mentioned.